The ballroom was silent in the early morning hours. Only the sound of the mop on the floor broke the silence. Mary Hope had been working for 3 straight hours, cleaning every corner of the luxurious 5-star hotel. Her graying hair was tied in a simple bun. Her calloused hands gripped the broom handle firmly. Suddenly, hurried footsteps echoed through the corridor. A tall man in an impeccable suit appeared, stumbling. The smell of whiskey reached her before he did. It was Edward Monterey, the most anticipated groom in high society. His eyes were red. His face was tense with desperation. He looked at Mary as if she were a piece of furniture. Invisible. Just another object in that luxurious setting. Then he began talking to himself, or rather, he spoke to her as if she were a walking confessional. "Do you know what it's like to marry out of obligation?" he murmured, running his hand through his hair. "Do you know what it's like to live a lie?" Mary stopped mopping the floor. Her brown eyes fixed on the desperate man. But she said nothing. She just listened. "Tomorrow I'm marrying Isabella Vasquez, the daughter of the richest banker in the country. It's an arranged marriage. My father lost everything gambling. Our company is bankrupt. This marriage will save our family from ruin." He laughed bitterly. A laugh that chilled Mary's blood. "But I love someone else. I love Clara, the cook's daughter from my house. Poor, simple, but with a heart of gold. Last night I broke up with her. I broke her heart into 1,000 pieces. I said horrible things. Called her a gold digger. An opportunist." Tears began streaming down Edward's face. Mary felt every word like a dagger to the chest. "You don't know me, janitor. Don't know who I am. That's why I can tell the truth. I'm a coward. A man without honor. Tomorrow I'm going to destroy the lives of 3 women. My bride, who doesn't know I don't love her. Clara, who will suffer seeing my wedding in the newspapers. And myself, who will live a life of lies." Edward moved closer to Mary. Desperation shone in his eyes. "You know what's the worst part? I could have chosen differently. Could have sold everything. Started over with Clara. But I'm weak. I chose money over love. I chose social approval over happiness." He threw a $100 bill on the floor, near Mary's feet. "Buy your silence with this, janitor. Not that anyone would believe you anyway." And he left, leaving Mary alone in the silent corridor. Comment down below, everyone. Where are you watching this video from? I want to know if this story is reaching far and wide. Mary stared at that bill on the floor for long minutes. Then she bent down, picked up the money and put it in her apron pocket. Not because she needed it, but because she had a plan. You didn't know, but Mary Hope wasn't an ordinary janitor. She was 58 years old and had a story no one could imagine. 20 years ago, she was Mary Hope Oliveira Santos. A lawyer graduated from the best university in the country. A specialist in family law. But life had other plans for her. Her husband died in a car accident. Left her with 2 small daughters and many debts. Mary sold everything. House, car, furniture. Paid the debts and found herself with nothing. Without experience in other areas, she started working as a janitor to survive. She raised her daughters alone. They grew up, graduated, married and went to live far away. Mary continued working. Not because she needed to anymore, but because working kept her alive. And during all these years, she never stopped being a lawyer in her heart. She read laws, studied cases, followed trials on television. Her legal mind remained sharp as a blade. When she got home that early morning, Mary turned on the old computer her daughters had given her as a gift. She began researching Edward Monterey and his family. What she discovered made her even more determined to act. Subscribe to the channel, everyone. This story is just beginning and you won't want to miss what's coming next. The Monterey family wasn't just in financial difficulties. Edward had lied to the janitor. The situation was much worse. They were being investigated for tax evasion, money laundering, active corruption. The marriage to Isabella wasn't just to save the finances. It was to gain political immunity. Her father, Banker Vasquez, had powerful connections. He could make the lawsuits disappear. Mary discovered more things. Isabella Vasquez was a 22-year-old young woman. An only child. Motherless. raised by a controlling father who saw her as bargaining merchandise. She studied medicine and dreamed of being a pediatrician. But she would be forced to give up everything after marriage. And Clara? Mary found her profile on social media. A 25-year-old girl. She worked as a public school teacher, took care of her sick mother, posted photos of needy children she helped on weekends. 3 innocent lives being destroyed by the greed and cowardice of powerful men. Mary couldn't stand by and do nothing. The next morning, she woke up at 5 a.m. She showered, put on her best clothes. A simple black suit she wore to funerals. She combed her graying hair into an elegant bun. She put on the low-heeled shoes she saved for special occasions. Then she took the bus to the downtown courthouse. The wedding was scheduled for 4 p.m. A grand event in the hotel garden where Mary worked. More than 500 guests. Press. Photographers. The wedding of the year. Mary arrived at the courthouse at 8 a.m. She waited at the door until the clerk arrived. When he opened, she was the first to enter. "Good morning. I need to register an objection to a wedding that's happening today." The clerk looked her up and down. A simple lady, in cheap clothes, talking about high society weddings. "Are you sure you're in the right place, ma'am?" "Yes, I am, young man. And I'm in a hurry. The wedding is at 4 p.m. 2 hours later, Mary left the courthouse with a document in her hands. A document that would change everything. At 2 p.m., she was at the hotel. No longer as a janitor, but as a guest. She had bought a ticket from a waiter for $200. All the money she had saved. The garden was decorated with thousands of white roses. A marble altar gleamed under the sun. Golden chairs lined up perfectly. Everything a fairy tale dream. But Mary knew that behind the beauty there was a tragedy unfolding. Like the video, everyone. Give it that thumbs up, that helps me so much. At 4 o'clock sharp, the music began. The groomsmen entered. Then Edward, at the altar, waiting for his bride. He was pale. Nervous. His eyes searched for something on the horizon. Then Isabella appeared. Dressed in white, she looked like a princess. But Mary could see the tears in the young woman's eyes. Tears she tried to hide behind her veil. The priest began the ceremony. He spoke about love, companionship, fidelity. Empty words in that context of lies. When he got to the objections part, the priest asked, "If anyone knows of any impediment to this marriage, speak now or forever hold your peace." Total silence. That's when Mary stood up. "I object to this marriage." A murmur ran through the crowd. Heads turned. Edward went white as a ghost. Isabella lifted her veil and looked at Mary with curiosity. "Who are you, ma'am?" asked the priest. "My name is Mary Hope Oliveira Santos. I'm a lawyer and I have legal impediments to present." Edward tried to speak, but his voice wouldn't come out. He recognized the janitor, but he couldn't understand what was happening. "Father, this marriage cannot happen for 3 reasons. First, there is moral coercion against the bride. Second, there is ideological falsity in the documents presented. Third, there are criminal impediments against the groom." The garden exploded in conversation. Reporters started recording. Photographers fired flashes. Mary continued, firm as a rock. "Isabella Vasquez, you are being coerced by your father to marry. I know you love someone else. I know you want to be a pediatric doctor. I know this marriage will destroy your dreams." Isabella removed her veil completely. Her tears now flowed freely. "How do you know this?" "Because I spent the whole night investigating, my dear. And I discovered many things." Mary turned to Edward. "Edward Monterey, yesterday you confessed to me that you love Clara Silva. You said you're betraying yourself for money and status. You said you're a coward." Edward tried to deny it, but the words wouldn't come out. "I recorded our conversation on my cell phone," Mary lied. But her voice sounded so convincing that no one doubted it. She pulled an envelope from her purse. "And these are copies of documents that prove your family is being investigated for financial crimes. Documents I obtained legally at the courthouse." Edward's father tried to approach, but the hotel security held him back. "Isabella," Mary continued, "your father isn't protecting you. He's selling you to save his own interests. This marriage is a sham." The young bride began to cry, but no longer from sadness. It was relief. I don't want to get married," she whispered. Then she shouted for everyone to hear. "I don't want to get married." Comment down below, everyone. What do you think is going to happen now? Are you enjoying the story? The garden turned into chaos. Guests shouting. Reporters running. Security trying to control the situation. But Mary wasn't finished. "Edward, you still have a chance to do the right thing. Clara is there at the back of the garden." Everyone looked. There was Clara, hiding behind a tree. She had come to see the wedding of the man she loved. To say goodbye definitively. She came here to see you happy, even knowing it would kill her inside. That's true love, Edward. Edward looked at Clara. Then at Isabella. Then at Mary. For a moment, time stopped. Then he did something no one expected. He took off his wedding suit. He was left in just his shirt and pants. He walked to Isabella and knelt before her. "Forgive me, Isabella. I don't love you. You don't deserve to live a lie. You deserve to be free to follow your dreams." Isabella smiled for the first time in months. "Thank you, Edward, for giving me the freedom I didn't have the courage to take." Then Edward got up and walked to Clara. The crowd parted in silence. "Clara, forgive me. I'm an idiot. I chose fear instead of love. But if you give me a chance, I'll spend the rest of my life proving to you that I've changed." Clara looked into his eyes. She saw sincerity. She saw love. She saw repentance. "Edward, are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." They kissed right there, in front of everyone. A kiss of true love. A kiss of new beginnings. Edward's father tried to protest, but it was too late. Security was already coming to arrest him for financial crimes. Isabella's father was also detained for coercion and banking cartel formation. But the story wasn't over yet. 3 months later, Mary received a visit at her simple home. It was Isabella. But no longer the fragile young woman from the wedding. She was a determined woman in a white coat. "Mary, I came to thank you. Thanks to you, I went back to medical school. I'm in my final year. I'm going to specialize in pediatrics like I always dreamed." "And how are things at home, my dear?" "My father was convicted. He's in prison. I lost a lot of money, but I gained my freedom. Now I work at a community clinic to pay for my studies. It's hard, but I'm happy." A week later, it was Edward and Clara's turn to show up. Edward was different. Thinner, with calloused hands from work. Clara radiant with happiness. "Mary, you saved our lives," said Edward. "I lost all the family money when my father was arrested. But I gained something much more valuable." "What was that, my son?" "I gained the opportunity to start over being an honest person. Now I work at an auto repair shop. Clara and I live in a small apartment. We have little money, but lots of love." Clara held Mary's hand. "You taught us that happiness doesn't come from money. It comes from making the right choices. From the right people." "And there's one more thing," Edward continued. "Clara is pregnant. If it's a girl, she'll be named Mary Hope." Mary's eyes filled with tears. "You didn't need to." "We did need to. You gave us a new life." 6 months later, a very different ceremony took place in the same hotel garden. Edward and Clara got married for real. A simple ceremony, with few guests. Isabella was the maid of honor. Mary, the guest of honor. There were no expensive roses or marble altar. Just wildflowers and a real priest. One who spoke about true love. During the ceremony, Clara gave a speech. "I want to thank a special person. Mary Hope taught us that God places disguised angels in our lives. Sometimes these angels look like simple people. Janitors, teachers, common folk. But they have the power to change everything." After the wedding, everyone went to Mary's house to celebrate. A simple house, but full of love. Mary prepared dinner with her own hands. Nothing sophisticated. Rice, beans, roasted chicken, salad. Real food, made with care. During dinner, Edward asked a question. "Mary, How did you know everything? How did you get those documents? Mary smiled. My son, I told you I was a lawyer. But I didn't tell you that during 20 years working as a janitor, I never stopped studying. I continued following cases, reading laws, staying updated. But how did you get access to the documents? Legally. Anyone can consult public records. You just need to know where to look. And I knew. Isabella intervened. But why did you do this? You didn't know us. Mary became serious. My dear, when you see 3 innocent people being destroyed by others' greed, you can't stand still. God gave me knowledge. Gave me an opportunity to help. If I did nothing, I would be complicit in injustice. But you risked so much. It could have gone wrong. It could have. But sometimes in life, you need to have faith and courage to do the right thing, even when it's difficult. Edward stood up and hugged Mary. You're an angel, Mary. No, my son. I'm just a person who believes that good always wins over evil. That justice always prevails. That God never abandons those who do good. Everyone, comment below. Have you ever experienced a situation where a simple person changed your lives? I want to read these stories. A year later, Mary received a special letter. It was from Clara. Along with the letter, a photo. In the photo was a beautiful baby girl, with big eyes and a toothless smile. On the back was written, Mary Hope Monterey Silva. 6 months old. Daughter of parents who truly love each other. The letter said, Dear Mary, our little daughter was born healthy and happy. Edward is a wonderful father. We work hard, but we're happy. Isabella graduated from medical school and opened a free clinic in the neighborhood where you live. She treats needy children without charging anything. She said it's her way of giving back for the good you did. Edward managed to open a small garage. It's going very well. We discovered that when you work with honesty and love, God blesses your work. We want you to know that we think of you every day. You taught us that there are special people in the world. People who appear in our lives to show us the right path. Thank you so much for everything. With eternal love, Clara, Edward and Mary Hope. Mary kept the letter in a special box, along with other letters from people she had helped over the years. Because Mary continued being a janitor. But now everyone at the hotel knew she was special. The employees respected her. The guests greeted her. The manager always asked her for advice. And from time to time, someone in desperation would whisper secrets to the janitor in the corridor, thinking she was just an invisible woman. But Mary always listened. Always helped. Always believed she could make a difference. Because she learned an important lesson in life. It doesn't matter your profession, your age, your social status. If you have a good heart and courage to act, you can change the world. 5 years passed. Mary was now 63 years old. Her hair was completely white. But her eyes still shone with the same determination. On a Saturday morning, she was in the park feeding pigeons when a family approached. It was Edward, Clara, and little Mary Hope, now 5 years old. A beautiful, smart, lively girl. Grandma Mary! Shouted the girl, running to hug the janitor. Yes, Mary had become the family's adoptive grandmother. How are my loves? Asked Mary, picking up the girl. We have news, said Clara, radiant. What news? Edward smiled. Clara is pregnant again. It's going to be a boy. And we already chose the name, Clara completed. Hope Monterey Silva. Mary started crying with emotion. You didn't need to. You gave us hope when we had none. It's only fair that our children carry this name. Little Mary Hope pulled her adoptive grandmother's face. Grandma, Mommy told me you're a disguised angel. Is it true? Mary smiled. No, my little one. I'm just a person who believes that we can all be angels to each other. That we can all help when someone needs it. Can I be an angel too? Of course you can. Every time you're kind to someone, every time you help someone who's sad, you're being an angel. The girl hugged Mary tightly. Then I want to be an angel like you, Grandma. In that moment, Mary felt that her life had been worth it. That all the difficulties, all the loneliness, all the hard work had a purpose. She had planted seeds of kindness. And now she was seeing the harvest. Edward approached. "Mary, can I ask a personal question?" "Of course, my son." "Did you ever regret giving up law? Working as a janitor all these years?" Mary looked at the blue sky, then at the family she had helped unite. "Edward, I didn't give up law. I just changed areas. Instead of defending clients in courtrooms, I started defending people in real life. Instead of cases, I dealt with hearts. Instead of sentences, I sought true justice. And that was enough. More than enough. Because I learned that being a lawyer isn't just about laws. It's about defending what's right. And sometimes you can do more justice as a janitor than as a doctor." Clara held Mary's hand. "You taught us that there's no small job when you have a big purpose." "Exactly, my dear. God put me in that corridor that morning for a reason. If I were a rich lawyer, Edward would never have opened up to me. If I weren't invisible, he wouldn't have told his secrets." "Do you really believe it was God?" "I do believe it. God works in mysterious ways. Sometimes he uses simple people to do great things. Sometimes he puts you in the right place, at the right time, to be the answer to someone's prayers." Little Mary Hope looked at Mary with her big eyes. "Grandma, were you the answer to Daddy and Mommy's prayers?" "I think so, my little one. And you were the answer to my prayers too." "How so?" "I was tired, sad, feeling useless. Then you appeared and gave me a new purpose. Reminded me that my life still had value." Edward hugged Mary. "You saved our family. But I think we saved you too." "You did, my son. You reminded me that it's never too late to make a difference. That age doesn't matter. That job title doesn't matter. What matters is having courage and love in your heart." That day, they stayed in the park until sunset. Talking, laughing, being a real family. When they said goodbye, Mary returned home with a full heart. At home, she sat in the rocking chair her daughters had given her. She picked up the diary where she wrote her memories. On the last page, she wrote, "Today I completely understood the purpose of my life. I wasn't born to be rich or famous. I was born to be useful. To be in the right place when someone needed it. To prove that God uses ordinary people to do extraordinary things. Thank you, Lord, for giving me the chance to be an instrument of your justice and your love." She closed the diary and went to sleep in peace. Because Mary Hope knew she had fulfilled her mission on earth. She had proven that good always wins over evil. That justice always prevails. That humility is more powerful than arrogance. That love is stronger than money. And that any person anywhere in any profession can be a disguised angel in someone's life. Comment down below, everyone. Did this story touch you? Do you know someone like Mary? Someone who changed your lives by being simple and true? Share your stories of disguised angels. I want to read every comment and know your life experiences. And remember, you can also be the angel someone needs today. Sometimes a kind word, a caring gesture, or simply listening to someone who needs to talk, can completely change a life. God bless you.